What do you do when you discover your child is viewing porn? So I'm trying not to use the word because I don't want my video to be capped or whatever. So I'm just going to keep it coded word, but you know what I mean. It doesn't matter how you're trying to raise your child. You might have 100% control in your house, but you don't have 100% control of what happens in the society. You don't have control over what your child sees away from home. You don't have control over what your child hears when they are not around you. You don't have control over how other people are raising their children. You don't have control over what other children are being exposed to. And these children get to mix up with your children. So the best place to be is be actively teaching your child. But let's say you stumble on it. Some of you parents might just have a reaction of, oh, blood of Jesus, what did I do wrong? Panic, cry, hits the child, and But what I want you not to do is do not react impulsively. Trap it. Trap how you feel. Give yourself some minutes, some hours to just breathe. 2, talk about it that day. Talk about what you saw them do. Talk about it with them. But this time around, you're talking out of curiosity. You're trying to find out. Talk about PORN and sexual intercourse with your children. Sex education begins early. Teaching your child appropriate and inappropriate sex begins early. Some of us leave it off for when it's too late. I had someone getting mad at me because I'm teaching mine about sex and someone comes at me. But this is a conversation that should start early, right? And it should be an open conversation that you're having with your child. Talk about sexual intercourse with your child. But you need to establish that it is wrong for them to do that. And you need to also establish that PORN is not a real representation of sexual intercourse. It's not reality, right? They need to understand that. They need to hear from you that it's not okay. And when you're done with the talking, you need to make sure you have things in place to curtail such exposure. Those of you that have your children handling your phones and playing with your phones, I hope you have parental control. Because they could stumble on it in your phone. Sometimes children are there just to search it. These things come to them. Most times children are not the ones who actively are going to look for these things. They don't go. They might just be searching something innocently and it pops up. It could even appear on the book that your child is reading in a very subtle way. So there's all sort of suggestiveness when it comes to sex, and you have to be educating your child. When you've had that conversation with your child, put things in place to curtail the repetition of such things. But make sure your conversation is ongoing. Don't talk about sex one day and then leave it up till another year before you can remember it, or something happens before you talk to your child about it. Sexual conversation is ongoing with children. Your child should talk to you at the stage where they are having crush. They should talk to you about it because you should be open to hearing it. Now you're open to hearing and listening to your child so that you can correct your child and guide your child. If your child is not speaking, you do not have a clue what's in their heart. You can't read a child's heart. You can't read a child's mind. The only time a child gives you an insight into what they are thinking is in their words. Get your child talking to you. Get your child communicating with you. But in all this, just be calm. Don't blame yourself. Don't go flogging yourself. What did I do wrong? I'm feeling sad and your heartbeat is... You even develop high BP for something you couldn't control. Calm down, parents. As parents, we don't have 100% control. All we're doing is we're doing right by our children. That's all we're doing. Doing right by our children and making sure we're guiding them the best way we can. Some days, it's not going to go as you plan it. What do? We don't beat ourselves forever. Just suck it up and move on. I hope this helps.